right now on Justice.
A vote for John Kasich is a vote for Donald Trump.
Ted Cruz pushes to get Donald Trump one-on-one. But be careful what you wish for.
You know, Lion Ted. We call him Lion Ted. Lion Ted.
Meantime, I take on the establishment Republicans with what I think is their ulterior motive in this election. And then Ted Cruz. Did you ever hear of him?
The famous?
No, not Tom Cruise, Ted Cruz. Street Justice comes to Los Angeles, and you can't miss it. Justice starts now. Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. And now my opening statement. So, you don't like Donald Trump. You're going to create a unity ticket of other candidates to make sure that he doesn't win. Say again? You want to stop one of the biggest vote getters in your own party's Republican primary history? Yet Donald Trump must be stopped is the Republican Party's mantra. Hey, I didn't always like my party's choice for president, but I generally supported him. Good that Trump is a white male, otherwise they'd be accused of being racist, and lucky Trump's not gay, otherwise the Republican Party would be accused of being homophobic. So let me see if I understand this. The guy who keeps winning, despite his being called a misogynist, a racist, a xenophobe, who has more than 50% of the delegates, with even as many as 17 other Republicans in those primaries, and the Republican Party's mission is to block Trump's nomination? What are you guys smoking? Okay, you like Ted Cruz. Good for you. But he needs to win 80% of the remaining Republican delegates. Keep dreaming, guys. It ain't gonna happen. And John Kasich, he's a nice guy, but absolutely no path to the nomination. So I say to myself, why would Republicans try to sabotage their own frontrunner and risk a Democrat winning the White House? And I keep coming up with the same answer. The Republican establishment, elected officials and party leaders are in bed with the Democrats. So if Hillary wins, nothing's lost for them. It's business as usual. The lobbyists keep their offices on K Street. The pharmaceutical companies keep paying them. The unions keep adding to their pensions. And the lawmakers get their re-election bribes. Contributions. While we, the underclass, have to work 2 and 3 jobs, rack up a debt our children and grandchildren are going to have to pay for generations. And to scare you into submission, they predict Trump cannot win the general election. If not, pray tell, why does he keep winning the primaries and drawing crowds like we've never seen in American primary history? An election note primer. Trump already has 678 delegates. He needs 1,237 to win. Now, he's won 6 closed and 13 open primaries and caucuses, one where independents and Democrats, or just independents, vote. So why is this important? It tells you that Trump, besides winning the base, is appealing to independents and Democrats as well. Does that not bode well for the general election, especially against an establishment politician most people consider untrustworthy and dishonest? So now they say he's divisive. Yet, think about this. The looting and the burning and the riots in Ferguson happened long before Trump. Black Lives Matter, Occupy Wall Street, MoveOn.org, all before Trump. The "what do we want dead cops, when do we want them now" chant, all before Trump. It's astonishing. Republicans plotting against their own frontrunner. If the establishment had exercised this kind of energy to get evangelical votes to Romney in 2012, he might even have won. But then again, it wasn't that important, because either way, either party, the establishment wins. Their jobs, their offices, their lifestyles intact as they continue on their treadmill of D.C. money and power. The party elders are petrified of Trump. The man is beholden to no one. He wins, and it's game over for the elite. With Hillary, the game goes on. Heads up, Washington. We're not listening to you anymore because we're fed up. You haven't fixed a damn thing. And we can't take it anymore. The lies, the corruption, the debt, the taxes, the invasion, the freebies, the lack of accountability, sanctuary cities, religions forced to violate their own faith by providing birth control and abortifacts at the altar of Obamacare. And you're saying one thing and doing another constantly. The patronage games and the free ride on our backs are over. You're just not listening. For us, it's not just an election. It's a selection of Supreme Court justices and the direction our country takes for generations. We don't want anything more than what our founding fathers intended. The slippery slope into socialism does not work for us. We want an America where law enforcement, the military, and our allies are not the enemy. Boys, your arrogance is astonishing. And your condescension and scorn for the will of the American people is both mind-boggling and reminiscent of another time in our history. You know, from the beginning, we knew this would be a political revolution. Be careful, boys. Be very, very careful. You don't want to make this a different kind of revolution. And that's my open. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page or Twitter, hashtag Judge Jeanine. And anti-Donald Trump protesters today shutting down a highway outside a Trump Arizona event, while in New York, thousands protested the GOP frontrunner in a march from Columbus Circle to Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. Take a listen to what Donald Trump told our own Sean Hannity about the protesters.
If you interview them, they don't even know why they're there. You know, they don't even know. Why are you here? The guy goes, I don't know. I don't really know, but I'm here. I don't have any comment, okay? I mean, you have to see these interviews as to they don't even know why they're there. But you have professional disruptors. But if you look at my rallies, other than the one I ended in Chicago where nobody was hurt, I did the right thing, because there you had a couple of thousand disruptors or protesters, whatever you want to call them. And I had 25,000 people, and we were able to stop a lot of them from coming in. And I can't, because when I landed, the Secret Service, the police, everybody said this could be a potential problem. So we get a lot of credit, I think, for, you know, to end. I hate to do that.
The full interview with Donald Trump will air Monday night at 10 p.m. on Hannity. And with me now is Katrina Pearson, national spokeswoman for the Donald Trump campaign. All right, welcome, Katrina. You know, what we're seeing, how are you?
Good to see you, Judge. That was a fantastic opening, and I fully endorse it.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Listen, Katrina, what is going on? You know, we've got these people who are, you know, blocking roads for people, making it impossible for them to go to a rally. Chicago was shut down because of the protesters. Utah, people jumping, Utah last night, people jumping over barricades. I believe it was in Ohio. And, you know, the doors were rushed last night in Utah as well. I mean, what do you think is going on besides the obvious, you know, they don't want Trump to win? Is their goal to get their own candidate in, to stop Trump, or are they just anarchists?
No, I think a lot of it is anarchy, but I think more importantly, this is organized chaos. They are trying to create a public perception of violence to scare people into supporting Mr. Trump. And what's missing here is the GOP establishment, just as you had mentioned in your opening. They don't really care if it's Hillary Clinton. And conservatism as a force ended in the 80s. After Reagan, the Republican Party was absent in the community, whether it's in society in general, even in the culture. And that has what's given rise to the militant left in this political correct society, where it's okay for them to use violence as an intimidation tactic, or just yell racist or Hitler to smear someone's character. And of course, the mainstream media will give them a platform to disseminate the smear campaign. But they are okay with Hillary Clinton, and that's the purpose of the anti-Trump as well. They want to convince people that they're not going to support Mr. Trump on this notion that he's going to lose because of it. And it's just not the case, because if they do fight against Mr. Trump, Jeanine, Judge, I tell you, Donald Trump is going to win regardless because he has the right policies. He is going to fight for the working class.
But Katrina, look, it seems to me that, you know, if it's really about conservatism, then they would be going after Cruz and
Sure.
people even more conservative than Donald. I mean, are they looking to provoke violence? What are they looking to establish here? I mean, do they just want to get into fights?
Well, I think a lot of them do. And you have people like MoveOn.org and Black Lives Matter and some of these anarchy groups. That's all they do is look for fights. They've been provoking people all over the country long before Mr. Trump entered this race. And if they do try to stop Mr. Trump, and let's just say it is Hillary, the establishment is perfectly okay with that because then they don't have to make the tough decisions for the American public. They can just sit back and blame Hillary. Meanwhile, the consultant class, whether you're on the right or the left, will continue to have their European vacations and their second homes, while the working class continues to get the short end of the stick.
All right.
And Mr. Trump puts an end to that.
Right. But let me ask you this. I mean, are you worried that the drama over these protests, they're now talking about they're not going to stop until thousands are arrested. Are you worried that that drama overtakes Donald's message or prevents Donald Trump from having the ability to even access those people who have a First Amendment to listen to him?
No, not at all. In fact, I think it's doing completely the opposite. I sat there and watched 50,000 people live stream Mr. Trump's rally today in Arizona just to hear his message. And this is the American people having a head-on collision with the truth, which is that the Democratic side is not on the side of the people and the militant left is their army. And what we see now is people that are supporting Mr. Trump, they're not afraid. They're going to go out there and they're going to fight for American values and American families, because that's who needs to come first.
All right. Think about the fact that, you know, the Chicago rally shut down, and a couple of days later, Donald Trump pretty much takes Super Tuesday, too. He almost runs the whole table, 5 states. Do you think that the people are now going to come out in even stronger numbers? And when do you think that the left is going to realize that?
Well, I do. I think more people are going to show up for Mr. Trump because you have to remember, no matter who wins, if there is a conservative policy or a policy that's even pro-America for that matter, this is what they're going to do to try to stop those policies. This is not anything new. And as you mentioned, many of us long before today knew eventually it was going to come to having to face this issue head on. More people are going to support Mr. Trump because we've seen now the challengers on the Republican side have sided with Bill Ayers, MoveOn.org, and Black Lives Matter against Mr. Trump. He's the only one fighting for the people.
Okay, quickly. And I ran for office. It's awful when your kids get targeted. Eric Trump gets a letter, white powder in it. They say next time it'll be real. I'm sure all of the precautions are being taken, but now they're marching in front of the apartment in the city today. What precautions are the Trumps taking? And I'm not asking for secrets, but are they worried?
Well, I think everyone anticipated there would be some pushback like this. I mean, there are crazies all over the place, and you probably experienced that too, just because you're a force to be reckoned with yourself. But there are precautions being taken. The Trumps are being very careful, as well as a lot of the staff members. This is taken very seriously because there are some crazy people out there. But you know what, Judge? We have to continue the fight. This is our last chance to get back on track.
All right. Katrina Pearson, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Good to see you.